Basham's arriving, and he takes the chance this time! Giant goal for Sheffield United! But what a moment in the promotion race!
My goals are massive.
Hello everyone and welcome along to the Sheffield United podcast, one of our own, where we speak to Blades players past and present about their time at Bramall Lane. Today we're joined by a modern day legend who joined, would you believe, in 2014. He's made 371 appearances. He was the pioneer of the overlapping centre-back. It's none other than the Bashambauer, Mr. Chris Basham.
Hi.
How are you doing? All right?
Yeah, good.
We've been trying to get this arranged for a long, long time. We've finally got you, so thank you for your time. 371 appearances. Could you have ever imagined it would have been that many when you came all those years ago?
No, definitely not. Obviously, when we used to walk down the tunnel, used to be legends of who's been at Bramall Lane, and I always have it standing out. It was Chris Morgan when we come out of the dressing room, and Morgs was my coach here as well, and to see him, and I think he was, I'm guessing, but it was about 250, 260. I says, if you ever get close to that, you will be, you're right up there. And obviously to make 371 and still going, and still going another year after this one. So if I can keep plugging away and maybe get close to 400, I'll be astounded by that.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been great. Like I said before, it's mostly ups. It's been really fun. Had one tough year in the Premier League, but COVID didn't help that. So. But no, it's been great and I've loved it. And if you ask us what my first game was and my last game so far, I can remember them. So
don't worry, I will be asking you about your first game in a bit.
It's been good.
Let's go back to the start, because on these chats I always like to kind of figure out how players have ended up where they've got to. And obviously you were at Newcastle, weren't you? That's where it all kind of started for you. But unfortunately for you, they let you go at 16, which I imagine for any young kid is difficult to take. But how tough was it for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think I was there from 9 till 16, so I had nurtured myself into being a footballer, or being close to a footballer. I was training 3-4 times a week after school, and academically I wasn't great at school, but as a footballer, as a runner, I was good. So to get released by Newcastle and for being too small wasn't too great. When I got the letter through the door, it wasn't developed enough, which I wasn't, and obviously it wasn't built into a young adult yet. So to get released was heartbreaking, really. Your local boys club, and to even tell people wasn't nice as well. I was still at school, I had to go to college, and to obviously say I'd been to Newcastle and released, it's never a nice thing. Done a few out trials and didn't get picked by anyone either. I went to Derby and Scunthorpe as well, and every time I go back to Scunthorpe, I always like to beat them because they never signed us. So yeah, it's an insight into me, and then obviously everything went from there quite quickly.
And had you been spotted playing for school and for Sunday League teams, something like that?
Yeah,
initially?
So I went back to Sunday League, playing Sundays and Saturdays, and I played for the county team, Durham County, and my coach there said, just keep doing what you're doing. There's a few scouts coming, you might get picked. You're ahead of us by a country mile, but just keep playing and hopefully it does. And a Bolton Wanderers scout who coached us there at the time wanted to take us down for a trial, but because of my age, I was 17 going on to 18, I couldn't play under 18 football. It had to be reserves, which was great for me at the time because reserves is finished now. So to have a reserve league there, and Sam Allardyce liked this, liked me stature. I grew into a bit of a man then, still really skinny but tall, so he liked that. And then he wanted to get us down, and we played a game at Morecambe against Blackburn on the last day of the season, and played really well in centre midfield, created a goal, showed a lot of energy. And the year after, we're going to give you a scholarship contract, but you're going to be playing reserve team football, which all I wanted was the window to get back in and to join a Premier League football club with the players that they had at the time. It was unreal, and had to keep pinching myself to realise that I was actually going there. Really difficult when I went there though. Leaving home was, obviously I had a girlfriend back home, and moving away from your family I never thought so. It was really hard. I cried all the way to Bolton, and then when I got there and got me digs, I was actually all right once I got settled in and wanted to become a footballer.
When you got that rejection though from Newcastle, what spurred you on to keep pushing yourself to try and find a route back in?
Yeah, I lost my way a little bit. I wouldn't say I lost my way by going on a drink and drink with my pals and stuff. It was more like, well, that was tough. I don't really want to go through that again, and to have the exit trials and not get anywhere wasn't nice. And to try and find a route back in, I think I just wanted to enjoy football again, a bit like what you see Illerman's like now. He just enjoys playing football, and I think that's what I wanted to be like. I wanted to just enjoy it, playing in a position, playing with my pals, scoring some goals and doing well, and being one of the best players in the team was nice to go along with it as well. And once I got enjoying it again, it was more, I want to be a footballer again now. If I can find a way, and I would do it, League Two, Conference, and work myself back up.
I know you've spoken about this in the past, but whilst you were at college, you worked at McDonald's. I mean, lots of articles have been done on that in the past. But I know that you're quite open to talking about that because you yourself feel that gave you humility, kept you grounded, and realised that if you do keep chasing the dream, you can get there, yeah? Yeah,
definitely. And I think it was part of working for a team and trying to reach goals, and it stayed with us throughout my career. We always need to reach somewhere or stay up, or can we achieve this? And I think that's what was good about that. And obviously I needed money as well to work at college. My mum was single at the time, so she wasn't just handers, backhanders all the time. I had to have EMA money from college and then work there part-time, as well as trying to play football at the same time. So football came first, then McDonald's came second, but it was fine. It was enjoyable at times. It was stressful at times after a Newcastle game away. All the fans coming in from McDonald's, that wasn't nice.
Because you're a Sunderland fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I was a Sunderland fan. I remember a few players drove through as well. So I've had a few players. I'm trying to think of the names now. I had a few players come through at the time when I was working there.
Nicky Butt?
Nicky Butt, that was it. Correct, you got it right. He drove through a few times, so it was always nice to see them.
Did he get good service though?
Yeah, he always got good service. I was on the drive-through window at the time. Never give a good tip though, but no, it was always nice to. It could be stressful after a game in Newcastle, especially now. I could imagine, but yeah, I've been back a few times now, and there's still some same faces there. So they've worked there all their lives.
How do they react when you go back?
Yeah, they're just obviously a bit like set back, but. To be fair, if it was in Sheffield, I think it would be a lot more. But being back home, when I go back, it's a little bit more calmer. And obviously, you're not one of the main faces around. But Sheffield, you go to Meadowhall, you get a photo when you go for some food and stuff like that.
Do you like a McDonald's? Do you allow yourself to have one now and again?
Sometimes after a game, I think you can have a little cheeky one, or in the summer and stuff like that. The kids, I always wipe up after the kids, so if they leave their chips, I'll be eating them. But nothing's too bad. I think that's one thing I've had good. Not the kind of person who puts on body fat throughout my career, so I've been able to let myself go a little bit, but as well as looking after myself as well. Yeah,
and going back to Bolton, when effectively your career was resurrected there, wasn't it? You spoke about you were a bit starstruck by some of the names that were there. What players were there at the time when you
obviously, a player who was here, Gary Speed. So straight away, him being at Newcastle when I was growing up, I was ball boy and stuff. So seeing him in the flesh and playing next to him, it was astounding. And then Kevin Nolan, whose boots are cleaned, obviously looked up to him massively. And then the same players like Nicholas Anelka. We had Ivan Campo, who was just phenomenal in everything he did. Wouldn't say he was the best trainer, but on a pitch was outstanding. And then Hierro, and just amazing players. And that's why they had a good togetherness there, though, a bit like we've had at the Lane ever since I've been here, the togetherness of the team. And a captain was fantastic, which was Kevin Nolan, and obviously I've had one here throughout my time here.
Yeah, and what did you learn off players like that, the players that you've mentioned who've played all over the globe?
Yeah, I think dedication to what they're doing, the way they analysed the game. They would go in to the media room after and watch the videos of who they were against or who they were playing against. Obviously Sam Allardyce was big on recovery, big on... He would come out on a Thursday, Friday because of the team that we're playing against. So he would analyse the game massively and who we were up against. And obviously we had some outrageous and unbelievable players in Nicholas Anelka, who went on to win Champions League and managed to play against him for Bolton against Chelsea. So that was a great day, and I think I got your shirt in my closet somewhere as well that day.
Were you a midfielder then? Were you a defender then? Because obviously you've played both.
Yes.
What were you predominantly back then?
So. What I am now, really,
right,
like utility, more not right centre half, but more can play midfield. But if I was playing reserves, it would be centre half because I was on the ball. I could drive out with the ball, and probably didn't have the stature of a centre half, but I had the reading of the game and the composure on the ball. But if I was playing first team, it would be go on, get your energy, get yourself going. You're going in midfield, and I really enjoyed that, and probably carry the lads along with us as a young lad. But because of my energy and getting around the pitch, everybody kind of come along with us. So that was ideal, and obviously I nicked a Premier League goal for Bolton Wanderers at the time. I'm just still gutted I didn't get one for Sheffield United.
Well, you can't have everything. Mate.
No, you
can't
can't.
have everything.
You definitely
but
can't.
Enjoyable times, though.
Yeah, it was amazing, and to learn from who I learned from, and being at a club at Bolton Wanderers stature at the time, European football and things like that, and the coaches that I had there were phenomenal as well, and it was amazing, and probably should have stayed there longer than I did, and obviously I took the move to Blackpool at the time.
Yeah, it's a big leap, though, isn't it? From seemingly not having a path mapped out for you after the rejection of Newcastle, then there you are playing in the Premier League. That shows how quickly things can change in this industry. Yeah,
I think that's the most important thing that anybody can take. That the game can change like that. The click of a finger. You can be not playing, or you can get a call up when the manager likes you. You're in the team, and you're coming on the pitch against the teams like Chelsea, Man United. I think I played Man United more for Bolton Wanderers or Chelsea than I did any other team. I think it's just because my energy and being able to man mark somebody out the game, and that happened once I was playing against Chelsea, and Gary Megson was the manager at the time. I started the game. You need to mark Lampard out the game. Stick with him.
How did that go?
He scored 2, and by half time I was off the pitch, and I had in my hands as a young lad. It was horrible. It was heartbreaking. But then you looked at his career that he had and how many goals he scored from midfield. It wasn't just me who had a hard day against him.
Is there
really?
Not. When you look at the career he's had. And you talk about Blackpool. You've had someone like Sam Allardyce and Ian Holloway.
Yeah.
What a character.
Yeah, great character. A massive change in culture, change in training facilities. Togetherness was unreal of the players, though. I love being around them. Still keep in contact with them players now. And yeah, so going from somebody who would quiet, come out on a Thursday, Friday, had Ian Holloway hands-on, 2-hour meetings before you even went out to train, and just talking about his lifestyle and his life and his problems and what was our problems. And obviously went there in the Premier League, and I think the sign is nigh on £1 million as well. And it was hard to knock on Owen Kyle's door to say I wanted to leave, and he kind of let us go as well. He kind of says, no problem, if you want to play football, go. And it didn't really work out like that. I didn't go there and play football straight away. The players that they had, Charlie Adam and Keith Southern and some great players, and to go there I thought I was just going to step straight in and walk straight in the Premier League and play every week, and it didn't work out like that, and found it difficult, broke my leg, and kind of had a tough season that first year, and we got relegated as well, which wasn't nice.
And how did it go after that?
After that, Ian Holloway left us. Obviously the chairman at the time wasn't great at Blackpool. It was tough, always fighting and bickering with each other. I wanted to bring players in, couldn't bring them in, and signing people on free transfers here, there and everywhere. It wasn't great, but then obviously Ian Holloway got sacked, and Steve Thompson, the assistant manager, took over, who really liked us a lot. I played a lot of reserve games for him and chucked us straight in, and didn't really look back after that. I think in the 3 years that I was there, I played 35 games a season, 40 games a season, so it was great, and had some great managers along the way, like Paul Ince as well, and Barry Ferguson I learnt a lot off too. Obviously being a Rangers captain and Rangers midfielder, and I had a chance of playing with Flecky there as well at Blackpool. John Fleck playing a young 16-year-old who didn't know nothing about until obviously the last 8 years I think I played along with him.
And talking of colourful characters, Keith Hill you'll have played under as well, because you were at Rochdale for a little bit, weren't you?
Hilly was aggressive, great. It was a great learning curve for us going there. Actually, it was probably from about now until the end of the season. We got to a playoff final. But under Hilly and Flickers, I really enjoyed it. Training everywhere, training at Man United's Cliff, then we were training Oldham, and but it was good for me. It was good to learn from the professionals at that time. Some great players, some good lads, and to get the playoff final and get defeated was heartbreaking for the lads, because I knew how much it meant to them, and obviously being a part of it was great. And Hilly was obviously the dictator and be aggressive as anybody who I've had in the dressing room, but he got the best out of his players.
So how did the move to Sheffield United come about?
Basically, I think I had a few I left the Championship to come to Sheffield United, and I had a few little sniffs from, I think, maybe Huddersfield. My agent was going, but my agent had James Beattie here before, and he says, you get this place going, you're going under a great manager under Nigel Clough. They've just been into a semi-final, it's ready to go, and I says, well, let's just have a drive over, let's see what it is. And I went out to Bramall Lane, I had a look at the history of the club and things like that, and when I went on to Bramall Lane, I was like, it's a bigger stadium than I thought. I'd never been here before in my life.
Not played here or anything?
Never played here. A few lads have been on loan, Matty Phillips, Billy Clark from from Blackpool, and they were wanting to come back, so I thought it must be good, and obviously I got the chance to come here and under Nigel Clough.
And what was the remit for yourself? What did he want from you? What were his kind of early thoughts on
Clough,
what he
when
wanted you to
first
deliver?
sat down with him, was energy on the ball, getting in the box, scoring a goal. I didn't score until the playoff semis, but just having a professionalism, being around lads like Skoogs and Jose. I was had a bit more experience higher up than they had, and obviously pushing them to be professional. And obviously it was a good first year. I really enjoyed the first year actually, but we didn't get what we wanted at the end of it, which was promotion to the Championship.
Yeah, and you made your debut against, well, you tell me.
Bristol City.
Bristol City, yeah.
2-1.
Yeah, that's correct.
Higdon scored for us.
Yeah, it was here at Bramall Lane, and you said earlier...
Luke Freeman was brilliant that day actually, played against Luke Freeman, who was obviously ended up being here and become a good friend. He was great for Bristol City. They got promoted maybe by 20 odd points ahead of everybody else, I think. They were great that year.
Well, you say you can remember pretty much everything, so let's test you then. That team, on your debut, what can you remember about the starting 11? You've mentioned a couple of names already.
Yeah, so Jose, I think Higdon was captain.
Yeah, he was.
Craig Alcock maybe back.
Yeah. Goalkeeper?
I'm going to say Mark Howard.
Mark Howard, of course, yeah.
In a couple of days' time. Did Harrison McGee start that day?
You did?
Yeah, Harrison. Colo. Neil Collins, no?
No.
Oh, God.
Higdon you've got, we'll give you that one.
I'm trying to think who played midfield. Skoogs would have played.
Yeah.
Flinney, did Flinney play?
Flinney played. Murphy played.
God.
You're three missing. And you've mentioned him already in this chat.
Have I?
You have. Literally about 90 seconds ago.
God. I said Jose, haven't I?
You said Jose.
No,
he didn't start that
I'm
game.
trying to think of the left back.
Bob.
Bobby Harris, we met from Blackpool.
Yeah.
Bob was class. I like Bob a lot.
Two more.
God.
Ben.
I know. Good free kicks as well.
Surname begins with D.
Oh. No,
Shares his name with a Tottenham player as well.
Davis.
Ben Davis.
Very good professional.
Yeah.
And Doyle didn't play. Doyle didn't start.
No, one more.
I remember Doyle in the dressing room wasn't happy with Bunny. One more.
Louis Reed.
Reedy started?
Yeah.
I used to drive him into training as well.
So you did pretty well there. You did pretty well.
To be fair, I wouldn't have thought Reedy because of his age, but everybody else who you've mentioned, I should have probably got, definitely.
Yeah, well, we'll not tell the likes of Ben Davis and Louis Reed that you can remember.
Benny, great guy, to be fair.
And you mentioned about your first goal. I mean, it came right at the end in that crazy game against Swindon.
I think the manager wanted to play me centre-half in them two games, but he needed the energy and he didn't have the players to play in them games, so he took his midfield. Coetzee, obviously, brilliant in there as well. And to score a goal, I needed it. And obviously, it was the 5-5 thriller. Shea scored a couple. We just conceded poor goals and we didn't get off to the best start. We were 3-0 down, I think, after 10-15 minutes. It wasn't going well. The home game was brilliant, fancied ourselves, obviously the fans backing us. Swindon was such a good team. I speak to Wes now about it because obviously Wes was in goal against there, but he can't really remember the game, and sometimes I can't. It's just a blur sometimes. But I know it's always on the Sky reels, it's always on a 5-5 thriller, the playoff time when they start coming, and it's just disappointing because the club deserved to get to Wembley that year. I think we got the semi-final of a cup against Tottenham Hotspur, and they deserved something out of it, and for us not to get it, I wouldn't say it was a failed year. It was got the playoff semi-finals and got beaten in the semi-final of a cup, which was a great season in my eyes, but the club needed promoted and we didn't get that. Nigel
was good though, wasn't he? I still speak to him now, proper football man, but
he's
just a great bloke, isn't he?
He's a manager who still keeps in contact with us now. If he has, I've had another child in my life, or I've done something well in the football club, and I think I've had a lot with managers I've had over the years. They respect me and I respected them, and if you can do that throughout your career, you've had a good one. I think managers get blamed for a lot of stuff, but it's also the players on the field as well that need to take a lot of the blame too.
Nigel Adkins came in. It was a tough season, that.
Very tough. obviously coming from the pedigree that he did, he had promotions, he'd stayed in the Premier League a few times, and don't think the blend of players that he had worked really well at all. So a lot of the blame had to be put on the players as well as the manager, and fans at Bramall Lane, once they get frustrated or upset, they become a big voice, and I think that happened a lot throughout the year. We struggled to settle down. I captained the team quite a lot as well that year, and it was a disappointing one and a deflated one, and I think a lot of the fans would have been writing me off playing midfield that year, and obviously it didn't work out very well, and it was a massive outlaw of players. A lot of players left, a lot of players came, and I think it was great for obviously Chris Wilder coming in like he did and to put his trademark stamp on the team.
Yeah, what kind of a change did you see in the whole mood around the place when Chris walked through the door?
Just basically just a tempo that he wanted in training, and aggression, an honest bunch of lads that he knew he had. Obviously with that little twinge of formation, it worked brilliantly. We didn't get off the best of starts, so I was worried sick. I was worried, but he stuck with the lads. He didn't change the team much. He changed the formation, and he worked on it a lot in training. And he kind of put it into play probably quicker than what I think he wanted to do, but it worked a treat, and I don't think he changed the team much throughout the whole year. Maybe a few strikers here or there, or a midfielder if they got injured, but the base of the team all the way through was the same, and then he brought a few players in coming the Championship, but we'll not fast forward too far.
I think Billy Sharp shared the story, I think Chris might have done it as well, about maybe an away game at Millwall where Billy was told to get off the bus and get the cans in.
Yeah, so I think we got beat or nicked a draw, I don't know. He might know more than me, and he was like, right, let's get togetherness, yeah. So we were driving down the road, and we pulled into an off-licence. I don't think they had enough beer, so we carried on driving. We pulled into a Tesco and came on with loads of crates, and to be honest, it was a blessing in disguise. It was a cherry on top of the cake. And
were you surprised though, as a group, that a manager would do that? Like
yeah,
that?
I was surprised, and I think a lot of the lads were, but I think a lot of the lads were going, we need this. We actually need to sit on the bus and have a drink, and not even home truths. It was just, we went off the best of starts. Nothing else can go much further wrong, and go and get yourself a few beers. We'll have a chat, and I think and then put some music on. We'd just been drew out, just been defeated as well. So, and after that, I think we went on like an 18-19 game unbeaten run with loads of wins in there, and finally settled team, and everyone doing what they needed to do and to affect the team, and the fans started coming along their way with us, so it was great.
What do you remember about, the conversation, I suppose, where Chris was talking about this change in system and what he was going to ask of the outside centre-backs and how that would affect you and what he wanted from you in that role? Yeah,
he took me to the side and went, I know you've been playing midfield, you've been playing midfield for me, but I want to change the formation. I think this is ideal for you with your energy, your strength, power, running, and you'll learn as you're going along. And it was probably perfect that I could learn in League One as I was going along, so it made it easier. I wasn't playing against a harder opponent, and I could do a lot more offensive stuff instead of defensive stuff. And as we were going, I was starting to create overloads. Kieran Freeman had a great year, and Kez scored loads of goals, and I had a great relationship with him. And obviously we were attacking loads, so it was fun, and I was creating assists and really enjoying it, and driving the ball out from the back. It became more of a dominant force for me. Obviously being a midfielder, I kind of knew how to go through the stages of the pitch, and it worked well.
Yeah. What was the biggest toll on your body playing that kind of role? Because you were up and down, up and down, up and down. Wow.
I speak to Anel, and Anel was shocked at the start of the season of how much you have to go back and forth. And I says it's dominating. It's so hard, and you have to try and be switched on attacking, but defensively you always have to know what's over your shoulder or who's about, and you've got Eags next to you screaming and shouting at you and things like that. But yeah, the toll on the body was tough at first, but I think as a player, once your body starts getting used to 3 games a week, you start just rolling into it. Your body's used to it. You're not getting cramps, and I think you see that with Illiman at the start of the year. He was getting a lot of cramps last year, a lot of cramps this year. Now he's just become his body's just normal and natural to it, and I think that's what happens as the body gets nurtured to what you're doing and how you're being as a footballer. I think it gets going.
And you were on a roll. You must have felt almost invincible.
Yeah, we thought we could have went all season without getting beat, and when we did get beat finally after that 17-game beaten run, I think the manager put it straight on us straight away, which was great to see. He wasn't just, lads, no problem, we'll go again next week. It was like, we should have been going all the way, and it was great to see from Chris Wilder at the time, and it was deflating to get beat, to realise that you had to go again. And the good thing about League One is that you were maybe up against a not so hard opponent, or a team that was struggling themselves, so we knew we could go again. And to get the Centurion 100 points was what the manager wanted from the moment. I think after we got beat 16 or 17 games in, he wanted to get the Centurions, and with 6-7 games to go, you think he might take his foot off the gas. It went the other way. It went more, right, we're going to get this, we're going to do this, and it was fantastic.
And what a day at Northampton.
Yeah, great day, obviously. I think Flecky got the winner.
Yeah.
Did Clarkey score as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, Flecky, and to see the fans running on, and I think it was a dream come true for me. I had 4 solid years my fourth one I got promoted, so 3 solid years in League One, and I was so desperate to get out. I was on probably my last year of my contract. The manager wanted to stay, and for us to do what we did that year was fantastic. And the day of Northampton, when it finally happened, was truly amazing. And you've seen lads spraying champagne. I'd never had it before, never experienced going up and being promoted. So to have that feeling of just overwhelmed, and the fans to see what you were, you became a hero, and to be that and still be part of that, it's amazing.
It's a club that knows how to celebrate.
Definitely knows how to celebrate. I think we didn't stop, but also we had the thought of 100 points in the back of our heads. So the manager was go out till Thursday, the Copthorne Hotel. There was always going to be a player in there. You could go in there and there would be someone sitting there having a beer, just reminiscing, and just the feeling of getting promoted, and the elation in your body and how you felt was amazing.
And the look on the fans' faces, I'm sure, is something you remember as well.
The fans, when we turned up and we were banging on the window, and we pulled in, and the fans just being there, lads coming off the bus, and it really kicked on from there, the club. And I think the fans started to believe that we were going to be a Championship football club, and hopefully bed ourselves in the Championship, but it went ever so quick from there.
Did you believe that you could be a team that would challenge for the Premier League so quickly as well?
No, definitely not. And I think we were right up there all the way through, and I think we just steadied away a little bit. We got ninth. We got 9th in the league the first year, or maybe 12th, was it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was thereabouts.
No, it would have been 9th, because we had top 10. We've got Las Vegas, so
oh,
it was
right.
definitely
Well,
up
you're
there.
going to remember that then.
So Sharp, you make sure you got that in on the contract. I think it was a great incentive to us to make sure we bettered ourselves in the Championship, and for the club themselves, it was good for them too to have something that the players could obviously drive towards. And I think the players went for that because of that trip at the end of it. After experiencing it in League One, there was a kind of same core of players, so we knew that we wanted to do it again, and for the club to put that on, it was a great incentive for everybody. And obviously the captain who we've got now was pushing for that as well.
Were there any signings that came before that second season in the Championship that you felt would make the difference and prove to be the difference when taking that next step to the Premier League?
Did Ollie Norwood sign them? I would say the second year.
Oh, no, you're
It might have been second year, Ollie Norwood, actually.
Not sure.
Was he second
Top
year?
of my head. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
looking over there.
year.
We're looking over there. We're getting nods.
No, I'm trying to think. I don't want to be disrespectful to the lads either, but I think because of the first year, how well we did, we didn't sign many. I think he just signed a few that could maybe help us along the way. Not being disrespectful to anybody, but the set core of the team was basically there. Kuchi's injury was massive that first year. Him and Flecky had the relationship that probably still goes on now. So them two are unreal. But Kuchi getting injured at Burton, I think we were right up there, and then we slowly faded away because everything went through Kuchi and Flecky, and for him to be out the team, and he was the dictator in the team at the time, so it was tough. But I think we signed Clark, maybe Leon Clark.
Yeah.
That first year, he scored a lot of goals, and he knew what it was like to be around the team. I'm trying to think of a few more. There won't be many more. He got a few strikers in. Nilly obviously knew Clarkey from his Bury days as well, so that helped us along the way. And obviously Sharp was scoring goals for fun, and he still is now, so it was great to have him. But I'm trying to think, no, the second year, Ollie Norwood was massive. Like, I think that's when he knew that elite player. He's diags to the way that we wanted to play, diag to O'Connell, diag to me, or diag to the wing back, and then an overlap. It worked a treat, and obviously Kuti recovering from his injury, Ollie coming in helped us a lot.
It was a great season, wasn't it? Obviously, for how it ended.
Yeah.
But what also made it exciting was this rivalry that has always been there with Leeds, but because Leeds were there with you, pushing you all the way.
I know, and that was mid-March, something like that. When we were pushing them, they were pushing us. they had all the energy of Bielsa, and we had all the energy of the way our formation was, and I think we had a few great games. Mark Duffy obviously was outstanding with Duffs, and he was out. We had a few good games. Brooksy came on the scene then the first couple of years, and obviously I think we'd done really well against Leeds in the first year in the Championship. So to have this going, and obviously I played midfield that day with Wilder and
Basham arriving.
Yeah, that's the one, and being my last goal.
I can't believe that.
I know, it hurts us that it is, because it's 4 years ago now. 3 years ago. Yeah, I keep getting reminded by my son, to be honest, as well. So it's never good when you've got a family member who plays football now. But yeah, and I need to get another one soon. But to have that and to play midfield and not do so well, and like what was said before, football, a click of your fingers can change, and the ball got laid. Cooper did a mistake. Sharpie played it across, and I knew in my head that I was just going to shoot. I don't know how I was going to shoot, but I was, and I kind of like slid and shot, and it obviously went in the bottom corner. It looked good, and
celebration was
good. I think. Young McAtee was talking about. He says he's seen it on Sky. He says the celebration was unreal, and I says I was overwhelmed to score on such big occasion, and obviously the rain suited me to a T. The pitch, the weather, and things like that, and the fans, and the momentum just changed from there. And then we had an international break, and we came back here and got beat off Bristol City at home, and we thought, oh yeah, we go again. Leeds have gone ahead of us again, and we finished the season really strongly. We went to Villa and drew 3-3, and the manager went off it, and I think because we're 3-0 up, Sharpie got a hat-trick. He's sitting on the bench waiting for the match ball, and everything just went bad from there. And I think there was fights in the dressing room with a couple of the lads. Dino in goal was shouting and bawling, and the lads were blaming him, and we were blaming ourselves, and it wasn't nice. And obviously the manager got us back in the next day, and just going off it as well, and kind of, because I think he believed in us so much that we're going to do it, we couldn't let things slip away on a 3-0 lead at Villa Park and things like that. So we all got bollocked. I think I was top of the bollocking as well, so it wasn't nice. I think he knew he could have a go at me, and everyone else would listen in as well. And I think the lads thought, if he's having to go at Bash, like, I could be next. So he obviously knew that he could have a proper go at me, as well as the other lads listening in too. Well, I thought that, and anyway.
Ipswich here. Jack at the Cop End. That was the day that did it.
I think.
Can you remember your emotions of the day?
We started with. He's at Birmingham now. I think now. Who do we start? We started up front. He scored at this end, and then Jack obviously got the massive goal, the corner, and Jack just cut. I can remember the commentary now. O'Connell coming in, and Jack got the goal. And the emotions for me was that it wasn't done yet, but all the lads. It just took so long for me to add up in my head what needed to happen, and I think everyone was celebrating like we did it, the fans celebrating like we did it.
You're thinking of Scott Hogan, aren't you?
Yeah, Scotty Hogan. So obviously Scotty Hogan scored the top end, great finish, kind of got us promoted, and then O'Connell, I think everything was just going our way, like the way that we were playing, the goals that we were scoring, like everyone was scoring goals or being part of it, and when Jackie got the goal, it was great, and all the lads at the end of the game were on the pitch, and I think the Sky cameras were out there, and the gaffer was pointing fingers and shouting and saying, this is what we believe in, and stuff like that. Obviously, the rest is history, really. The Villa game, we were all over the far side, drinking and everything like that, and for that to play out like it did, just kind of knew it was going to be our year, and how it happened. But I think after beating Ipswich, I think Leeds needed to score 9 goals or something to catch us, and it was just never going to be possible.
That was some session, wasn't it, that followed?
That
wasn't 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. That was like 2 weeks.
Mrs. was asking where I am. Like, that's how bad it was. And she gives us free leeway all the time, bless her. But I don't think we were home for days. There would be lads in the Cop Vaughan, and there'd be an open top bus tour going on. There'd be a session over there, and then you'd be walking in the car park, lads would be drinking there, but there'd be loads of fans there. It was wild, and then we had to prepare for Stoke, so we had like 7 or 8 days on the drink, and then we were going to Stoke, where the manager didn't want to get beat. He said before the game, make sure we're on it, because it'll lead into next year. If you get beat here, and things will roll on. I think he was very decisive like that in his head. I think he thought things can roll on, and if you get beat 1 or 2, it'll keep going. So momentum was big for him, and we didn't get beat that day. I think Enda got a goal, and Stevens had a good end of the year, didn't he?
He did,
He was brilliant, and he scored a few massive goals, so with Duff against Forest and stuff. So to have that, and obviously go to Stoke and still celebrating after the game, and all the fans were great. I think I did a train, boys all following us, obviously with the bait
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
Oh, we remember.
that was great. And I think it just carried on through, and all the lads were singing, and we got back to Bramall Lane. The bus couldn't even get in the gates at the top. There was just so many bands and flares going off, and then when we finally got off the bus, we were back in the suite there, and everyone was just drinking again. And I think I went home for 2 days before I was off to Vegas with the team.
I'm pretty sure Paul Coots got kicked out the Crucible.
Cootsy got kicked out the Crucible. I think he got up and drank the
He
ref's
did,
water.
he did,
It was
yeah.
brilliant, that. And then the next
brilliant.
day he came down and met us all at the Cobb Phone, because I think after, when the emotions of what we did were so high, it was nice for the lads just to go and sit and have a beer and actually talk about what we've done and how quickly we achieved it, and the belief that we had from that year going in the Premier League. I think it helped, obviously, the gaffer having the core players from League One, Championship, Premier League, and everyone just knew what they're doing and took the Premier League bit by surprise, to be honest, and he couldn't wait for it.
And they're mates for life now, aren't they? You know, when you achieve something special together like that, you'll always have that. And it's funny, when I see Richard Stearman, wherever he's playing, the image of him putting the pint pot on his head and his eyes just all out, it's just class, brilliant. Yeah. But, you know, he wasn't a regular starter, but whenever called upon, he came in and did the job brilliantly, didn't he?
Brilliant, and I think that's how good it was. I think anybody, a bit like now, really, in the involvement now, can be, if you get thrown in, you're going to play well, because the teams we've been so good and we're doing so well, and I think that's what was the same with Stiaz, same with Clarkey when he come on. Didzy was outstanding. He's still showing it now. It's just too easy for him, that league. We all have sayings for each other. Like Stiaz would be like clean sheets, anti-clogs, which is your boots, and Didzy would be like rolls ways, like because he rolls Royce on the pitch, and it sticks with you forever. And whenever we see each other, we message each other, we're always together, and I think that's you have friends for life. And I'm hoping in the years to come we'll all be invited back here to watch a match one day, and we'll all be together. And obviously I talked about the class of 19, but it's gone further than that now. It's carrying on, and I'm loving it.
And what a first season that was in the Premier League.
That was, I think taking it by surprise is correct, but I just don't think the teams understood how we had so much intensity, and I would be up there and I'd be back there, or O'Connell would be up there, and then you would end up in our own box clearing one off the line. And I think we kept our clean sheets really well. I think the second year in the Championship, I think we had 21, 22, and I think that could get broken this year, to be fair. But I think keeping clean sheets was massive, and I think the togetherness that we had, and obviously Dino in goal as well, was backed himself, and he was great as well. So to do that in the first year, I think was it ninth?
Ninth.
Should have been higher, to be fair. I think COVID, and was it COVID the first year as well?
No, that was after, wasn't it?
Oh, that was dreadful, that, yeah. But yeah, I think we got hurt by the end of the first year, but still great. And
did you think that Europe was?
We did, yeah.
Gonna happen?
And we did. We didn't talk about it, but the lads in the dressing room believed that we could do it. I'm sure it was the first year when COVID happened, because I was supposed to be going to Newcastle. We were supposed to go to Newcastle away, and I was buzzing because we were on such a good run, and I couldn't wait to get there. I had loads of tickets ordered as well, and to go there and to play in front of 52,000 was my dream, especially being there from a young boy. So I wanted to go there and prove a point of why your release is, and to show all the staff members, obviously Peter Beardsley and all the other staff members that I had at the time, to show like this is me and stuff. So I was gutted, and it did happen in the first year, definitely, because we played Wolves here and it was dead, and Egan scored that 90-minute header.
Yeah, you're right.
And we beat Tottenham and Chelsea here, and then we ended up fading away a little bit at the end, but we had some great games here, and COVID, because this was a fortress here. Teams hated coming here, and obviously when the fans went here, everyone was just relaxed and flicking the ball around the shoulders and stuff like that. And it was hard that second year, but the first year was everything I dreamed of as a boy and growing up, and obviously playing for the Blades now after 6-7 years of being in the Premier League was everything I dreamed of. To finish ninth, pushing for European places, imagine what that would have been like. But to regain our Premier League status was massive, and the way that it ended wasn't great in the Premier League, but I don't think the things that we couldn't control helped at all.
What was your biggest memory of playing in the Premier League? What the best memory?
The best one, God. We played Arsenal at home. We won 1-0, and that was when the 3-3.
Man United.
Yeah, United was great. Moose was on fire.
Yeah.
Moose had a great 7 or 8 games for us. But yeah, I just think playing at home, even the first game that we won here, Crystal Palace,
Yeah.
that was massive. Playing against Zaha, unreal player, but playing against him was great. And yeah,
John Lundstrom, wasn't it?
Lunny
Yeah.
was outstanding. And yeah, he had a great year. Just produced everything that the gaffer believed in and that he could do. He did it, and he become a Premier League footballer and everyone's fantasy football best player, wasn't he, Lunny? And he's gone on to do ever so well. Fans, I think, at the start weren't having him as much as a bit like Blades when he joined Blades. They weren't, and then he kept the ground running. Now he's a hero up there, and I dare say he's up there, and he's up there for the Blades as well.
As you say, good things do come to an end, and sadly it did with Chris going, and that felt like a bereavement in many ways.
Yeah.
It was a grieving process, wasn't there, when Chris left, because of what he'd achieved, and he's a Blade through and through, what he'd built here. How hard did that hit the group?
That hurt the lads. Yeah, that hurt the lads massively. I think we're going to Leicester, which was never really good there in anyway, and the gaffer sat us down. We had a chat, and he just couldn't kind of carry on with what was going on, and obviously with how much loyalty he had to the football club, I think he struggled with that.
Yeah.
Of getting his own way kind of and what he wanted, and it hit the lads hard. And obviously when we went to Leicester, didn't have a clue who was going to be in charge, and I think the gaffer now, Hecky, was wanting to be in charge, but it couldn't really be done. I think he ended up taking the game, him and Nilly, and we got beat 5-0, but could have been even more. I think the lads were gutted. Everyone was putting stuff on Instagram and Twitter and to say thank you to the manager, and everyone was sad, and the fans were probably shell-shocked as well, and all the pundits too, because of what we had achieved the year before and where we were going wasn't the greatest. So I think we're breaking records for the wrong reasons, which wasn't good. I think it was 16 games that we didn't win for until Newcastle came here and we beat them. Right. So that was, it was sad, but like you say, everything, all good things sometimes have to come to an end, and it did. And Hecky took over for the last remaining 8 or 9 games.
Yeah,
maybe.
It was a handful of games towards the end. Did well, actually.
He got a feeling for it. He did well. We picked up a few points. He just got morale going again, just a little, because he knew how hurt we were with the gaffer leaving, Chris Wilder leaving, and we were devastated. But I think we all realised that we're still in the Premier League. Let's go out with a little bit of dignity, and we've got to carry it on for next year. And yeah, it all changed again the year after.
Yeah, Slaviša came in, and good manager, got the
Really
pedigree.
good.
Didn't work out in the way that obviously we all hoped, but there's no denying he's a good manager. I just wonder whether it was the right job, wrong time.
Yeah, I think he was brilliant. The lads took to him. The lads loved the way he was coaching us. They loved the way his training was. He loved his staff that he had as well. And I just think maybe the only thing that Slav struggled with was the team trying to mould from doing what we did in this formation to trying to change the formation to play out from the back, and the intensity of it all. And I think us as lads struggled with that. We knew what the manager wanted, but we struggled to try and get away from the Chris Wilder Hecky effect to trying to be calm and produce some football. But obviously he brought Illiman in from nowhere, and that was a massive thing for us. And he's done some great things, and I think we still learn from do stuff that we learn from now, and we're a lot more comfortable on the ball and things like that, but it just never worked. And I think the fans got agitated, the lads were getting agitated in the dressing room, and things just didn't work out. But like we say as well, and like he said, things happen and you move on, and you're going to be a manager somewhere else, or you're going to be a player somewhere else, and he's done that now, and we're doing this. Obviously I'm doing this here still.
And Hecky came back in, so this familiarity there.
Formation back to what he knew, and intensity in training lifted a lot more, and had lads clattering each other again, and out there for a while. But I think with Hecky, you learn so much during the week. It's not just you got a game at the weekend, let's start coaching you Friday, Saturday. It's from Monday all the way through to Friday. This is who you're playing against, strengths, weaknesses, and I think this is why he's doing so well. And I think he's done that at the back end of the Premier League, and he's doing it now. And it's last year was guttering because we were down the bottom half, and the push like we did to be undefeated like we did was massive. And Hecky still reminds us of that day and the emotions of it, and we all know as professionals of how to do it, and also know how to fail it as well. And we're all pushing this year in the right direction.
And the way that it ended obviously was bitterly disappointing last year.
But we practiced penalties before the game.
Yeah.
Everyone was putting them in, but the pressure becomes massive. The stature of the game becomes big, and I dare say if we did get to the final, I think we would have been there or thereabouts for sure. And obviously Nottingham Forest got promoted, but I think there was an element with the goalkeeper just looks away and hits him in the leg, and we just wish that day that we'd gone in. But I think we're set a lot better this year. I think we've brought in some great signings, great lads, and I think we're set along the way with obviously the experience that we've got of being promoted, being hurt as well at the same time. It's a great mix, and you look around this room now and you see the shirts and stuff, and we've got a lot more, how do you put it, like we've got a lot more, say Anel and me, a lot more like positional wise, we've got a lot more strengths as well, and if Anel comes out and I go in, I dare say we'll be the same. If Anel comes out, we've got a lot of fight of each other as well, so but we're all good mates on and off the pitch, which is great to have too, so we all celebrate together and we all lose together, so it's nice for Hickey to have that. I think it's been great that he's been backed and kept a hold of the players that he has, and hopefully we can produce in the last 16 games.
Anel, whose shirt is hanging over there, is he the successor to Basham's throne?
Yeah, I think he's been outstanding. It's been great. It's been a credit to him to how he's produced himself as well, which is great to see. And obviously I'm waiting in the wings and I keep pushing him all the time. But when a team's doing so well, it's hard for the manager to change things up. We've got loads of games and he's been outstanding, and I'm hoping in the Premier League he can produce like he is now.
What about you? Happy in life? I mean, obviously you want to be playing a bit more than you have been.
Yeah, obviously I'm on 371 now, like I said at the start. I think my next appearance is my 500th, so it's a massive achievement for me. You're never going to be happy as a footballer not playing, but when the team's going so well and we're fighting for promotion, you've got to be happy. You know full well that you've been part of it. Albeit it might be 20 games, it might be 15 games, it might be 28 games, you never know what's going to happen. So as long as I'm part of it and I'm not getting in the lads' ways and I'm pushing training, I'm pushing the manager to make a decision, that's what it has to be. I mean, I've been part of it now 9 years and I've probably played every game that I've been selected for, so it's difficult at times sometimes, but look, we're playing well and we're keeping clean sheets, but I can't go knock on the manager's door and say, Gaffer, like, you need to be putting me in, and El's playing outstanding, put me in. But no, it's great to see, and all I can wish for now is that we achieve for the fans, for the club, the all-time goal, which is getting promoted. And Hickey as well. Hickey deserves it. He's come in here and he was 23 manager, so it shows how quick it can turn for him. He could be managing in the Premier League in very soon.
Do you feel like an adopted Yorkshireman now?
Yeah, I love being around. Yeah, I do like going home as well, though. I'll always be. I mean, I know Sheffield by the back of my hand now, but I'll always love coming here. I love being part of the football club, part of all the lads and stuff like that. But I know I've got another year to go next year, and I want to be pushing for the same thing. I mean, I love being part of this football club, and long may it continue.
Would you be happy if your career ended here?
Yeah, I think so, but if my legs are still going, I think I'll carry on. And obviously, I've been at Rochdale before and teams like that, and I mean, my next move, it'll hopefully be north, because that's where we want to end up. We want to have the kids back home and just growing up all together, seeing a lot more family and things. So we'll see what happens. But if my career ends here, I think it'll be nice too. Yeah.
And what's the next step after football?
Next step after football, I have thought about it. No, I'm not going to do coaching? Management. No, maybe coaching. Yeah, but it'll not be as high as. I don't know, it depends where it goes. If Sharpie gives us a show, says, Bash, I need you to tag along with us, I'll happily be there, you know what I mean? But no, I think coaching now, like what you see with the manager now, it's not even, it's 7 till 5 o'clock at night, and I think I need to spend some time with my family as well, and you do that for a few years, but I know I'll always be welcome back here if it's in the dressing room, if it's the coach, the younger lads, I'm sure I'll be welcome back, because I know what it's like not just to be a coach, but to play here too.
How many kids you got?
Three. 2 boys and a girl. They love football as well. So I'm getting me hit off football a lot at the minute and that as well. And I like going to watch them, but you're so busy as a professional footballer now. It's not just it's Monday till Sunday. It's never ending. You need to recover right to make sure you're ready for the next game, especially in the Championship.
How do you relax then away from the game if you've got 3 kids taking all your time up?
I think that's sometimes a good relaxer though. It takes your mind off football, takes your stresses away from it. You're not always overthinking things. You go home, and if you have been beaten the next morning, you're waking up with your kids and you're going to either take them to football or you're going out for a walk, and I think that's the difference now. I think when I kicked myself a lot, and I would be reading things online and things like that when I was younger, or Nigel Clough era, going into Atkins era, I was probably reading a lot more things online that I should have been, but now I don't have the time, so it's nice just to spend time with them, relax away from it, and see me mates as well when I can.
Where'd you like to go in Sheffield?
I go to Wentworth Garden Centre a lot because I live around there, that area,
okay.
Barnsley, Bark Green, and there's the farms up there and stuff. But I love coming to Sheffield. There's a lot more outdoorsy stuff in Sheffield, whereas when I go home, there's a lot more indoorsy things and stuff. But Peak District and things like that, I do a lot of stuff, really. I was speaking to the lads before about cameraman and getting GoPros and me drones and things like that.
You're into all that
I like
stuff?
all that stuff, but it's learning how to use the things. I don't have a clue, so I'm on YouTube more than I am on the cameras themselves.
What do you like photographing?
I don't know, just the kids. I like doing a lot of video type of photography, so like obviously when I got my drone up, panning out and going across the city, or if I'm in the mountains or near a bridge and things like that, just takes your mind away from football sometimes. But I'm also love watching football and being part of it, and if I get a clip through off the manager, watching that and asking what he wants. So yeah, I do try and take me away from football, but it's always just round the corner and that it's there. And I love watching the matches. I love watching football and watching the best players of the World Cup this year. I loved it. The lads were buzzing off it, kids were buzzing off it, so it was amazing.
Bashambauer, I described you as at the top. That's a nickname that's stuck. Snake Hips is
definitely.
another one that's not stuck quite so well, but I know the lads at one point used to call you Snake Hips. But Bashambauer, I mean, it's not a bad nickname to have, is it? That?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think obviously as I've grew up, I've watched more clips of the real Beckenbauer, and I've seen how he played football, and he, kind of like what I do, drive with the ball, but he could finish at the end of it and I can't, so that's why he was an international. But no, it's amazing to have, and obviously the fans have been true to the word. They've stuck by us. They are it's Sheffield through and through, what they are, and if you give hard work, determination, you can leave it all out there, they'll back you up all the way, even if you don't have that bit of quality at the end.
They love you.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
said at the top, you're a modern day legend, and you are.
Even when I'm on the bench and I'm warming up, they shout my name and they're singing my name, so it's nice to know that I'm still in their thoughts as well. And they know that I'm fighting in L all the way to get back in the team, and L's done ever so well too. So as long as they're winning and the team's winning, we're all together, and hopefully we can be celebrating in the Boozers in Sheffield at the end of it.
Fingers crossed, a great note to finish on. Listen, thank you so much for your time. It's been brilliant to talk to you. Very, very grounded. You've always been very humble. What a servant to the club, and fingers crossed it keeps on going for a bit longer. Yeah,
hope so. Still got a few more goals to tick off, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm enjoying being with the lads like I am now, and growing up with the lads throughout my career. So it's great, and hopefully me and the skip have still got a bit more in the tank. Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Thank
Good
you,
to
mate.
see you.
Appreciate
Thank you very
it.
much, ladies and gents. Hope you've enjoyed that. Chris Basham, our latest guest on the Sheffield United podcast, one of our own. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Goodbye.